A winter afternoon in New York. The sky hung heavy and gray. Cold wind slipping through the revolving doors of the Lancaster Crown International, one of Midtown's most opulent five-star hotels. The vast lobby spread under wine-red carpets, chandeliers spilling gold light onto polished dark wood tables and champagne glasses that caught the glow in quiet hands. The sharp crack of a palm hitting wood sliced the air in two. At the reception desk stood a Chinese man in a navy Armani suit molded to a solid, broad-shouldered frame. 52, about 6 feet tall, skin bronzed by travel, eyes black and burning. Jiang Wei-ming, a wealthy tech entrepreneur, but right now there was nothing of calm boardrooms in him. His wide hand struck the counter again, fingers trembling with restrained fury. In clipped Mandarin, he said, "This is not my suitcase. I will call the police." A sound, crisp, forceful, drew heads from nearby guests. Western tourists frowned, not catching the words but catching the heat. Behind the desk, a young Latina receptionist glanced helplessly toward the manager. Margaret Collins, white, mid-40s, platinum hair swept into a perfect knot, beige suit immaculate, approached with the poise of someone who could slice with a look. Her voice came cold and precise. "Sir, please calm down. We don't understand you. Can you speak English?" Jiang Wei-ming only repeated himself, louder this time, still in Mandarin. "My luggage is missing! You gave me someone else's case!" Margaret turned to the receptionist. "Do you understand him?" A small shake of the head. Seconds of stillness. Margaret forced a thin smile at the guest, but impatience flickered in her eyes. Murmurs rippled through the lobby. An elderly couple whispered over their coffee. A man in a hoodie lifted his phone, recording. From the far corner, a stocky security guard raised his radio. Disturbance at the front desk, calling for backup. No one here knew Zhang had just flown in from Beijing. No aide, no interpreter, deliberately keeping the trip quiet. All they saw was an Asian man speaking loudly in a foreign tongue in a five-star lobby. Wait a second. If you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps us. And they were already writing their own labels for him. From the corridor, Amara Johnson appeared, a black housekeeper, 25, slim, 5'6". Her natural curls were pinned high. Navy uniform faded at the cuffs, soft black flats whispering against the carpet. She had just changed linens on the 10th floor and was headed upstairs with a bag of fresh towels. She stopped at the sound, a voice sharp in Mandarin, jarring against the soft piano an English murmur. Her eyes found the flushed Chinese man, and with only a few words caught, she understood. Lost luggage. Setting her bag aside, she moved toward the desk. Her voice was steady, low enough to carry calm, not heat. "He's not causing trouble. He might have really lost his luggage. He needs someone who understands Chinese." Margaret turned sharply, blue eyes sweeping Amara head to toe. "Step back. No one asked for the opinion of a low-level black girl like you." From behind, a young white service staff muttered just loud enough. "Go back to mopping floors, you filthy black maid." The words pricked like needles. Amara's face stayed composed, fingers tightening just slightly. Her deep brown eyes seemed to take the insult in whole, then lock it away in silence. Without another word, she stepped forward, stopping eye level with Jiang Wei-ming. In clear Mandarin, she said, "Sir, don't worry. I understand. Please, tell me what happened." The moment hung. The murmurs stilled. Even the piano seemed to hold its note. The lobby froze. Jiang Wei-ming's eyes lit up at the sound of Amara's Mandarin. The tension in his shoulders eased slightly, like a drowning man catching hold of a rope. He spoke quickly, in Chinese. "Thank you. My suitcase is silver with a combination lock. It's been switched. This," he pointed to the one in front of him, "isn't mine. Inside are only old clothes and random junk. My real suitcase contains a data storage device, very important. If it's lost, the consequences will be serious. From the airport to here I kept it with me, but after handing it to the front desk it was replaced." Amara nodded, committing each detail to memory before turning to Margaret and the receptionist. "He just arrived from the airport. His suitcase was switched here, after check-in. The real one has a sensitive data device. This one isn't his." Margaret's brows lifted, lips pressed into a thin line. A data device? She flicked a glance toward security. Ask if he has proof. Amara relayed the request. Zhang opened his briefcase, producing a passport and boarding pass. Margaret took them between two fingers, gave them the quickest glance, and set them down as if they were a flyer. He could have swapped it somewhere else without noticing, she murmured to the receptionist. We've never had this kind of mix-up. No one else has reported missing luggage today. Amara heard every word but didn't react. She knew that tone, the quiet bias that wasn't just aimed at this Chinese man but had long been aimed at her. 3 years ago, Amara Johnson's life had looked very different. She'd been in her final year as a Chinese English linguistics major in Shanghai, on a full scholarship, a ticket out of the cramped neighborhood where her mother, Patricia Johnson, worked in a public library. Back then, she'd believed in a bright, borderless future. In a multicultural world, there will always be a place for someone like me. I'll build my life in a new country. She'd loved cycling through Shanghai mornings, the chorus of street vendors and car horns, the way Chinese characters had gone from foreign symbols to familiar friends under her hand. Then a call from the U.S. shattered it all. Her mother had late-stage ovarian cancer. Amara dropped everything, dreams included, to come home. Treatment in America cost more than she could fathom. She took whatever work she could, barista, waitress, finally a housekeeping job at the Lancaster Crown, steadier pay but also a quiet cage that locked her into a routine she'd never wanted. To colleagues, she became invisible. Just the cleaning girl. No one imagined she'd once been a top student, fluent in another language, living halfway across the world. No one here knew that Zhang Weiming was the founder and chairman of one of China's leading tech conglomerates, specializing in AI and cybersecurity, worth billions. His trip to the U.S. was sudden, kept under strict secrecy. He was here to sign a sensitive tech partnership that, if leaked, could send stock prices tumbling and put the project itself at risk. Avoiding security details and interpreters was deliberate. He wanted to be seen as nothing more than a wealthy middle-aged tourist, traveling light and alone, contact details tucked into a single handwritten business card. His English was serviceable for small talk, not for explaining a theft involving sensitive technology. So when his silver suitcase was swapped for a cheap one stuffed with old clothes, panic hit hard. The data device inside the missing case held classified project information. The more urgent he became, the faster and louder he spoke, a mix of Mandarin and broken English. And to everyone else it was just noise. Noise from a disruptive guest in a polished lobby. Back in the present, Amara drew a breath, turning to Zhang in Mandarin. I'll try to explain everything to them. Please don't worry. He nodded, gratitude in his eyes, though worry still shadowed them. Amara faced Margaret again, keeping her tone even. He says the swap happened here. The real case has confidential data. He's asking that the hotel check the cameras and call the police. Margaret's brows knit in mild irritation. You know that's not standard protocol. We can't pull camera footage over a missing bag with no evidence. Amara stayed calm. If the data really is that important, delay could have serious consequences. A new group of guests swept into the lobby, footsteps and chatter spilling into the air. Margaret glanced around, then sighed. Fine. Tell him we'll check. No promises. Ask him to wait in his room. Amara translated. Zhao frowned, replying in Mandarin. I'm not going to my room. I want to know now who gave me the wrong bag. Amara relayed this, and Margaret's patience thinned. Tell him if he keeps making noise, I'll have security remove him. For a beat, Amara felt the walls closing in. One side, a man clinging to the only bridge he had to communicate. The other, a manager who valued rules over people. She leaned toward Zhang, lowering her voice in Mandarin. Let me talk to them. If we push, they'll just try to get rid of you. He searched her eyes, then gave a slow nod. Amara turned back to Margaret, neutral as stone. He understands, and will cooperate, but he insists that the device cannot be lost. He hopes the hotel will treat this as a priority. Margaret crossed her arms, thought for a moment, then nodded curtly. Fine. Tell him we'll investigate and get back to him as soon as possible. Amara translated. Zhang exhaled, shoulders dipping, though his face stayed taut. Thank you. Just make them understand. Every minute matters, he said in Mandarin. I understand, she replied in the same language. She watched him step back from the desk, hands still gripping the handle of the wrong suitcase as if it too might vanish. Behind him, Margaret returned to her desk, her voice cool as a closing door. And Amara knew that, at least for now, she was the only bridge between this man and a world that didn't speak his language. The next morning, Amara arrived for her shift early, as always. She thought maybe after helping the Chinese guest clear up the misunderstanding yesterday, she'd get at least a nod from Margaret, the manager famous for treating praise like an expensive commodity. What she got instead was the opposite. She had barely stepped into the staff area when a scheduling supervisor handed her a sheet. Amara, starting today you're off the lobby shift. Laundry room. Laundry, she echoed, thinking she'd misheard. Yeah. No more guest contact. Just linens, towels, carpets, manager's orders. No reason, no explanation. Just one line to close the matter. Just follow it. Amara stood still for a few beats. She wanted to ask why, but experience told her that here, questions didn't bring answers, only trouble. The laundry room sat in the basement, its entrance beside the trash disposal. No red carpet, no perfume, infused air like the main lobby, just humidity, the bite of detergent, and the damp must of used towels. Her workday now began with sorting heaps of bedsheets, towels, and restaurant uniforms. Hours in, her hands were already puckered from the constant soak of water and chemicals. By noon, she was wheeling a cart stacked high with used spa towels back to the laundry when she caught sight of a couple of coworkers nearby. Grinning, one faked a coughing fit before muttering to another, "From saving guests at the lobby to washing towels in the basement, that's a promotion." Their laughter trailed her into the laundry room. Amara kept her eyes on the work, forcing herself to ignore it. Late in the day, as she was closing up, she dragged a heavy industrial trash bin toward a large disposal bag. But the weight was off, heavier than usual. She pulled harder, and the bottom of the bag tore. Wet papers spilled across the floor. Among them was a crumpled, water-blurred A4 sheet. The edges had bled into gray smudges, but the center still showed bold black type.
From Hotel Office.
To Northbridge Systems, Chicago. Content, data storage device, urgent? Amara froze. Her heartbeat kicked hard. Data storage device. The phrase yanked her back to Zhang Weiming's voice, insisting that his suitcase contained one and that it couldn't be lost. The date on the paper matched the day his luggage went missing. She straightened the page carefully, slid it into her uniform pocket, and finished cleaning without drawing attention. On break, the questions wouldn't stop coming. A Chicago tech firm. A delivery marked urgent. Why was this in the basement trash and soaked as if someone had tried to ruin it before tossing it? She decided to find Margaret. On the third floor approach to the manager's office, voices leaked into the hallway. Instinct told her to stop. Margaret's voice, sharp, clipped. Once the hard drives delivered, we're done. When the money arrives, I'll give you a third. A second voice, the lobby receptionist from yesterday, lowered but still clear enough. We're pushing it. If that Chinese guy finds out. Margaret cut her off, her words slower but edged. Don't let him find out. And especially don't let that black girl know. She's nosy and speaks Mandarin. If she gets involved, it's trouble. Amara's chest tightened. There was no doubt now. Margaret and the receptionist had arranged to steal the device from Zhang's suitcase and pass it to a third party, probably a rival. Her mind flashed to yesterday, when Zhang had slipped her a handwritten business card after she translated for him. If you need to contact me, just for you. Your Chinese is very good. She'd pocketed it without much thought. Now it was the only key she had. Stepping back silently, Amara left the office area and found a quiet corner of the hallway. She pulled out her phone. Her hand shook slightly as she opened an email draft, typed in the address from the card, snapped a photo of the damp shipping form, and attached an audio clip she'd just recorded from the office doorway. In Mandarin, she typed, "I believe this is connected to your suitcase. Please read carefully. Amara." She took a breath, hit send. The email sent confirmation flashed, but relief didn't come. She knew that from now on, every step she took had to be deliberate. One wrong move and she wouldn't just lose her job. She could be in real danger. Still, her conscience was clear on one thing. She wasn't going to turn away from the truth. That winter night, the Lancaster Crown was anything but peaceful. Around 10 p.m., when most guests had either retreated to their rooms or were lingering over cocktails at the ground floor bar, the main doors swung wide. A group in black suits strode in with swift, deliberate steps. At the front was a tall Asian man in his 40s, face set in stone, a thick folder tucked under one arm in a leather case. Behind him came 4 others, 2 men, 2 women, each wearing badges that read legal affairs and corporate security in both English and Chinese. The sharp rhythm of their shoes against the marble floor drew every eye in the lobby. A hotel security guard stepped forward, about to speak, but the man in the lead produced a document and spoke in crisp English. "We are the legal and corporate security team for ZWM Technologies. By urgent order of Chairman Zhang Wei-ming, this hotel is now under internal lockdown for investigative purposes." The air seemed to tighten. Margaret, lounging in the management area as if the night was hers to command, looked up with a frown. "This is an international hotel. You have no authority." The man cut her off, his tone sharpening. "We have full authority. This action has been granted emergency approval by the district court, under international legal provisions. Anyone who interferes will be criminally liable." From the left-hand elevators, the head receptionist, Margaret's co-conspirator, emerged, phone in hand, smiling as she typed a message. The smile died when 2 corporate security officers walked straight toward her. Margaret Collins, operations manager. Sandra Lee, head receptionist. The lead man called out, voice firm. "You are both under immediate arrest, under criminal investigation orders." A hotel guard froze, glancing around for someone to step in. No one did. Margaret pushed herself to her feet, trying for control but unable to hide the bite in her voice. "I'm a hotel manager, not a criminal." The man opened the folder, pulled out a warrant, and held it inches from her face. "You are suspected of conspiracy to commit theft, unlawful access to guest data, and deliberate intimidation of a witness." Witness. The word dropped like a stone into the room. All eyes shifted toward Amara, standing in the corner of the lobby, the faint scent of laundry soap still clinging to her hands. Margaret's gaze snapped to her. Shock and fury tangled together, but the look no longer carried weight. Within minutes, Margaret and Sandra were handcuffed in front of staff and guests alike. Phones came out, whispers rippled. "Oh my God! The manager!" And the head receptionist, too. Didn't think they'd dare. The legal team quickly took control, ordering hotel security to seal the exits, seize computers from reception and management offices, and confiscate both women's personal phones. An hour later, city police arrived to take custody, the metallic click of handcuffs punctuating their departure. The investigation moved fast. Amara's evidence, the audio recording and the damp shipping slip, went straight into the case file. Security footage showed Margaret and Sandra secretly receiving Zhang's suitcase, unlocking it, removing a data storage device, and sending it via express courier to the headquarters of a rival firm in Chicago. That rival, long locked in a fierce market battle with ZWM Technologies, was quickly drawn into the net. Authorities discovered they had used the stolen data to sabotage ZWM's contract in an emerging market. The news broke like an explosion. Within a week, the rival's stock price crashed. Senior executives resigned in waves, and the company collapsed under a storm of lawsuits. The Lancaster Crown wasn't spared. Its brand was gutted, stripped of international partnership rights for 3 years, and forced into an independent audit of its entire internal system. In the middle of the chaos, Amara was invited to a private conference room. Zhang Wei-ming was waiting, no longer weary. He sat straight in a sharp black suit, calm as a man who had just reclaimed something priceless. He rose when she entered, extending his hand. "Thank you. Without you, this could not have been resolved so quickly." Amara shook his hand, still a little unsure. "I only did what was right." Zhang's smile was brief but genuine. He placed an envelope in front of her. "This is an official offer. I want you to join ZWM Technologies' U.S. branch as an international communications advisor and interpreter." Her eyes widened. Before she could respond, he added, "I will also cover your full tuition if you choose to finish your studies in the U.S. or in China. The choice is yours." A slow warmth spread in her chest. After years of being overlooked, her worth was finally acknowledged, openly, undeniably. On her last day at the Lancaster Crown, she wore her uniform one final time, not to work a shift but to return it. She crossed the lobby where Margaret had once spat in her face. "Don't meddle in the business of noble white people." This time, her stride was steady, her chin high. The chandelier's light spilled over her shoulders. Some staff nodded in greeting. Others simply avoided her gaze, but they all knew she was no longer the cleaning girl. She pushed through the revolving doors into the winter night. Cold air bit at her skin, but inside she was warm. Amara Johnson wasn't just walking away from a hotel. She was walking away from an entire life defined by others. Now, she was the one writing her own fate. Messenger. Justice doesn't always arrive in grand courtrooms. Sometimes, it begins with the quiet choice of an ordinary person who refuses to turn away from the truth. Amara was neither lawyer nor cop, yet her resolve and honesty brought down those who twisted power for their own gain. Her story is a reminder. Real worth isn't in the uniform you wear or the rank you hold. It's in keeping your conscience intact, even when the whole world wants you silent.